That's when I knew we had made it, when they had knockoff
Yeah,
union
there's knockoff stuff. Welcome to amorephillyunion, the podcast where we swear to talk about the Philly Union, the whole Philly Union, and nothing but the Philly Union with as few digressions as possible. We are your host. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
All right, well, let's start off this episode with a little bit of housekeeping. The Help Us Help the Union Challenge check. We're up to 698 downloads. That's
two away.
I know, we were so close. I was watching the numbers today. I'm like, come on, we're recording tonight. Let's hit that 700. But I guess we'll have to wait till next week.
It was not meant to be.
Yeah. So that's 24 more downloads in the week, which is kind of, our average, it's par. So let's keep it going. So yeah, that's about par. We got to pick up the pace a little bit. If we're going to hit that 1,000 downloads by the end of the season. When we hit that 1,000 downloads, we're going to make our donation to the Philadelphia Union Foundation. So yeah, let's keep those downloads coming. In terms of new listeners, our international brand continues. And we just want to say willkommen to our new listener in Germany. So yeah, we are slowly getting all the countries. So that's a nice addition. I generally have no idea who it might be. Servus. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, exciting news. We have our first listener correction, or several listeners correction. Last episode, we talked about Leagues Cup. Liga MX was, we said that they also had their season was going on while the cup tournament was going on. That is incorrect. That was pointed out to us. We really appreciate the feedback. So yeah, definitely feel free to let us if we drop the ball like that. So yeah, Liga MX did not have any league games during Leagues Cup, with one small exception, and that was Monterrey had a game on Friday the 18th before the third place match, I believe, August 18th, right? Now, who knows? Maybe they split their team up. One half was in the U.S., the other half was in Mexico. That I don't know. But
which might explain why the Union had an easy time against Monterrey in that third game.
Maybe that was it, So I want to thank our listeners who wrote in to tell us. Especially I want to thank Billy for writing in. He's a fellow podcaster. He's got two podcasts. I checked one of them out, Growing Up Union and Major League Slander. So I was listening to Growing Up Union. It's really entertaining. It's his I don't know how old he is, but his son is kind of the star on this episode, on this podcast, and he's absolutely adorable. Billy said that they are hoping to get the podcast relaunched again. So I'm gonna definitely be following that and want to tune in. So if you're looking for a nice, interesting soccer podcast that involves an adorable, I'm going to say maybe 1-2-year-old, where they read a book to him at the end of the episode, it's pretty entertaining. It's pretty enjoyable. So that's Growing Up Union. And then there's other ones, Major League Slander, which I have not listened to, but I'll definitely check that out. Another thing too that they're doing that's pretty cool is they support Reach Out and Read Greater Philadelphia, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. Thanks for the feedback, Billy. Appreciate it.
So kind of fun, kind of meeting other podcasters and whatnot. So, okay, well, let's get into the games. The Union were down in DC this weekend, and
home away from home for the Union.
It is kind of a home away from home.
Really?
And it was a pretty darn good game. Spoiler, Union won this one 3-1, and it was
only had to play a half.
Yeah. We won this game in 45 minutes. It was a really good game. The Union looked great. It was just a
commanding performance.
It was the return of the Triangle of Death, and I think that's kind of one of the things I was just hoping for. Just those deliberate or well orchestrated passing and scoring, and this game I thought delivered.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. It was great having Carranza back after his. I remember if it was it was a minor injury of some sort. You could definitely see the movement up top was a lot more comfortable. But the midfield play continues at a very high level. Bueno
Mhm.
is definitely making it difficult for Curtin to decide that midfield lineup between Flock and Bueno and Bedoya. Who's going to get the two starting eight spots is definitely tough.
Yeah, and it was good to see. It was the classic 4-4-2. Yeah, that center midfield diamond with the triangle death at the top. The solid four defenders of Wagner, Elliott, Glesnes, and Harriol. Maybe with one small exception, having Bizo in there instead. But Harriol is obviously, like we've talked about, he is definitely coming up the curve this season.
Absolutely.
So it was a very comforting, back four there. And then of course Blake, which we will get to, he had something to say in this game as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was and they didn't waste much time setting the pace for this game. The Union definitely came out on the front foot.
It's the Mario Kart equivalent of they timed the gas just right that when the checker flag went, they just took off.
Something like that. Between getting the gas right and United just not clearing the ball like they needed to. That first goal came in the first 5 minutes. It was exactly what you said before. A triangle of death goal was Gazdag forcing the turnover, getting the ball to Carranza, who makes an amazing pass, and
just
makes
sublime.
An insane finish that he's like reaching back to get the ball. It looked like Carranza from earlier this season. Just gave Bono, the goalkeeper from DC, no chance to save it.
Yes.
I think it's Bono, but I want it to be Bono.
Regardless, he's my favorite goalkeeper name of this league. It's the best.
Yeah, so that was a real nice way to start it off. Was that wasn't the goal that got the Eagle salute, was it? That was later on. I think that was the third goal that Gazdag ended up scoring.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe.
Or got the first one. McGlynn got the second goal.
Correct.
So then it'd be Gazdag with the third, which honestly I don't remember the Eagle thing. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that.
Hold on.
One thing to note too, I caught the announcer, so I did not do this research. I'm just repeating what I heard. That Carranza got 2 hat tricks against DC United last year. I didn't realize he had.
They beat DC the first time 6-0, I think, and the second time 7-1.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of goals in that game.
Yeah.
In those games against DC. Yeah, he definitely did not go easy on them.
Yeah,
pounded them pretty harsh. Yeah, this one wasn't a single player getting a hat trick, but the Union really just looked comfortable taking it to him, much more so than in the game when DC came up to Philly. I'm not sure exactly what the differences were, if there was a lineup change or just an attitude or an approach to the game that changed, but like it just felt very much like the Union were running this game.
Yeah, it feels like with the third place win against Monterey, which was kind of a return to form for the Union. It just feels like we exercised some demons a little bit. I don't know, just not that we're riding high, like, we're unstoppable, but we're getting, I feel like our swagger's coming back, And
sometimes you need to get knocked down a peg to remember what you need to do to win.
Yeah, and I feel like it's carried itself over to this DC game. It just felt like, we were on the front foot pretty much the whole game.
That Carranza's pass was insane. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was just so perfectly weighted, just splitting those two defenders. It was just, it's kind of like that was Aura's goal to miss at that point, which thankfully he didn't miss.
And to be clear, it wasn't an easy finish. I mean, you didn't have to reach back to get a foot to the ball, and it wasn't an easy finish. But man, the run was exactly what was needed, and that pass was beautiful.
Yeah.
So just to clarify earlier, that Eagle celebration was after the Gazdag penalty, and actually with that he is tied for second with CJ Sapong for all-time goals for the Union. So to Seba, who is still significantly ahead, but
when I heard that Gosdog tied CJ for the second most goals scored. First time I was like, well, what's Latu at? Like, how close are we to the Latu number? And it's only a win-win, right? If Gosdog surpasses Latu, it's like, well, I mean, that's great for us and the team. But Latu,
how many points? I know Latu has at least 50. Do you remember how many he has total?
It's 50 something, but I have to look because I saw the stat, but let me see.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that pop up, and I had made a note of that. That was an interesting bit of information. I'm sure a lot of people will put an asterisk next to Gosdog and that he scored how many of them this season so far from the penalty.
Yeah.
It's exactly 50.
Latu is exactly 50. Okay.
I mean, do we want to jump to the PK or do you want to talk about the second goal?
I want to talk about that second goal. The way it started with Martinez just playing Martinez. Like he, instead of heart to heart, it was Martinez to Martinez. Like, so he kind of stopped the DC advance. And
no, it was a free kick. It was a DC free kick that they put off of a Union defender.
Okay.
And it bounced out to Martinez.
But then Martinez got challenged by a DC player, and he basically he passed the ball to himself, like to get around that defender. And then he was just off down the sideline where a second DC player came out and he did his whole little crouching tiger, hidden dragon, like just passed the ball simultaneously, jumping over the players that are coming in. Just Martinez I just love watching him play like this. It's just so great. And so it gets down.
I think the word you used earlier is really what describes him. It's swagger. Like, when he's just playing like this, he's loose. He looks like he's dancing out there on the field. He's having a good time.
Yeah.
And they can't touch him. And it was fun.
I always find that when players are playing in a way where whether or not it's literally on their face or just the way their body language is, but you could tell they're smiling on the inside. That's like when you get the best performance,
Absolutely.
And that's definitely what Martinez did, which got him all the way down the sideline. And then, and then he crossed it in to the DC goal. Now, did Carranza actually get a foot on it, or did he just kind of let it just go by him, or did it look
like two players actually? It looked like it went off of a retreating DC United defender, and then it got sort of tangled up in Carranza, or he may have lifted a foot over it, and it went off the defender near him, and it spilled out to the left where McGlynn was, and then McGlynn just made a real nice, passes it around the goalkeeper towards the far post netting. And once again, a retreating DC United defender almost makes a play on the ball, but ends up carrying it into the net.
Yeah.
But man, that it really was. I mean, the first goal was like a quick triangle of death combination setup. This one was all Martinez, and it was just like he would not be stopped. And the cross just had to find the right player, and McGlynn just finished it.
Yeah.
Pretty.
And then the Union, just the pressure just stayed on. It was like around the 30th minute. And I have a note here that the TOD just make attempt after attempt on net. It was just like, they were absolutely on the front foot. DC was on the back foot, and it was just like, like a boxer working their opponent into a corner and just wailing away. And while we didn't get a goal in the run of play, it did lead to a
breakaway.
A breakaway, yeah.
Who played the ball over the top when Carranza made that run? Was that Gosdog? I thought it was Gosdog. Plays it over the top, and Carranza's racing in on it. Keeper comes out to challenge him, and Carranza chips it, bumps it over the keeper's head, and the keeper just clears out Carranza.
It was, what's the word? Unambiguous. Yeah, that yellow card was probably one of the easiest calls the refs had made all night, So yes, goalkeeper comes out, takes out Carranza, and
unambiguous, I believe, is what you described about.
Yes.
And the goalkeeper was Miller and not Bono.
That's
Bono.
Correct.
Bono, what is it?
It's Bono.
It's Bono.
Okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't understand sometimes why people think that wouldn't be a penalty. Like, it seemed like when the announcers were being a little cautious about it at first when it happened. It's like, how is that? I mean, I get that he was playing the ball. He was trying to make a play on the ball, but he clearly did not make any contact with the ball, and then just totally takes out Carranza. Now, fortunately, he didn't injure him, but yeah. I mean, that yellow card was warranted.
He forgot which type of football he was playing.
Apparently, He was only slightly closer to the ball than I was. Right,
and you were in Pennsylvania.
I was in Pennsylvania.
But yeah, I mean, as far as it did kind of look like a safety trying to take out a wide receiver going over the middle or something like that, just to wipe them out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Gajdag once again gets another opportunity to work his mind games against these goalkeepers, and he stays perfect in MLS season PKs. Insane.
So is his only missed PK that was during Leagues Cup, right?
It was during the penalty kick shootout of Leagues Cup.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a penalty kick in Leagues Cup. It was a part of the PK shootout. Yeah. So the only one that he missed was in that penalty kick shootout of the Leagues Cup. Not even a PK in the game. Yeah. So I mean, he can. It's just amazing the fact that he keeps. I really feel like he's getting to a point where he's just watching the keeper and knows which way the keeper is going to go and just puts it the other way.
Yeah. It's a very like Neo moment, it's just like you just see the little green characters trickling down the sides of the stadium, and so as he holds up his hand, it just whispers, "No." It goes into, instead of bullet time, it's PK time.
Yeah, seriously. Whatever it is, it works.
Yeah. And so it was with that goal that he tied Sapong now as the second most goals for the Union. So
good for him.
Yeah. So going into the second half, DC showed that they were down, but not completely out. And there was that really nail-biting scramble there in front of the Union goal.
Well, I mean, it shows the quality of Benteke. I mean, the man, like all good forwards, you have to watch them the whole game because they will make opportunities happen.
And simultaneously, it shows the quality of our keeper, Blake, with that, I'm going to say at the death, but like microns to go, he just clears that ball, which was...
And it shows the quality of our defender with Jacob Glesnes making, throwing his body in front of the ball and his head, and then his head a second time to keep it out. I mean, it was very clear that neither Blake nor Glesnes wanted the ball to go in the back of the net in that series of shots.
So that was kind of the closest that, or one of the closest points that DC got to getting a goal. But they had to wait till pretty much the end of the game. Who was it who scored for him? But
I forget. It was a long name.
It was that beautiful Di Pietro, right?
Di Pietro. That's
it was that beautiful, just
20-yard
laser of a shot. I mean, Blake even got a finger to it, but there was just no stopping it. So maybe a little bit of a Pyrrhic goal, right? A little bit of just
Pyrrhic is the right word.
Yeah. But
it was a good run. The Union did make a play on the ball, and it ended up at Di Pietro's feet, and he got around one defender and far enough out that the other second sliding defender couldn't stop the shot.
Yeah.
It was a blast. It was a blast and a half.
And I mean, to DC's credit too, right? They got that goal, and they grab the ball, they get ready to keep going. So
it's always nice when you're in that position to be able to keep their keeper from getting a clean sheet too. Like having had that shoe on the other foot. It's a miscongeniality kind of award, but it's something makes you feel a lot better.
As a Union fan, though, it would have been nice to see the Union get a clean sheet because it's been a while since they've had one.
No, absolutely.
And at the end of this game, finishing up 3-1, the Union have now given up 27 goals, which I believe was the number of goals they gave up in total last year. And we still have 10 more games to go in the season.
Yeah, the defense is a little leakier this season.
A little bit. I mean, we've also scored 42 goals, which is up there, but surprisingly not the top. There are 2 teams with 50 goals already, and there's a 48. There's a team with 48, a couple of others that have 42. So while the defense has been a little looser this year, the offense has been picking it up pretty well.
Statistically for this game, we were kind of back to classic Union numbers. We did not have the possession. We did not have the passing numbers. We did not have the passing accuracy. We accrued more yellow cards than DC did. And look at that score, 3-1, It's there's definitely a pattern forming here, I mean, I've heard in other games, right? Like what we call him, Taylor Twellman, talking about how the Union play that not reaction style, but they don't worry about possession. They let the other team make the move first, and then they counter it with a quick, they stop it and quickly counter.
I took it very much as like letting a toddler wear themselves out.
Yeah.
And just absolutely taking them to school. Yeah. That's sort of the vibe he is putting out. But yeah.
I just hope it doesn't turn into like a bad version of Rocky 3 where you just keep getting pounded on and pounded on and pounded on until they can't stop you from winning.
Come on, man. Didn't hear no bell. He's getting killed. No, he's getting mad. I mean, maybe that's the philosophy here.
Yeah, maybe.
Not to take anything away from Gazdag, because I don't necessarily subscribe to this, but our beloved Scoops, Nancy, has mentioned that she does not consider PKs to be real goals.
We should take her out to a field somewhere with the net and be like, put the ball in the net.
I think it's more like if that's the game winner, she feels like it's kind of cheap.
Well, we kind of mentioned it a while back, and yes, his 36 goals for the Union may have an asterisk in it next to it for some people because so many of them were scored from the spot rather than in the run of play.
Right, and I'm not necessarily saying I agree. I'm throwing my mother under the bus.
Oh, sure,
absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it is something to think about, and I won't say that a shadow of that thought hasn't crossed my mind, but still, at the same time, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm down with it. But and she was not talking about Gazdag. She was just talking about it as a concept.
No, it's an interesting point. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like, I mean, at first glance, I kind of agree in the sense of, if all your goals, the goal opportunities, if a lot of them are coming from PKs, statistically, it's in your favor that you're going to convert those points more often than you don't. However, you only get those PKs when the other team does something stupid. And so it's kind of like, it's not like the 2 teams sat down and say, hey, would you guys mind if we kind of just get goals only by PKs? Okay, we'll agree to that. And, we beat them. It's like, no, I mean, so it's kind of like, well, the other team has to kind of, for lack of a better phrase, give them to us. And we send in our experts.
It's definitely, there's an argument to be had both ways there, I think.
Yeah. But, and I like to do that with Scoops. Maybe we should do like a
point counterpoint.
Or behind a pay curtain, we bring in Scoops, and
we will have Scoops here this weekend. That we could do a special Scoops be our first interview on the podcast.
That would be something.
That would be fun.
Something. I don't think she'll do it, but that's okay.
So anyway,
with the win, the Union have advanced to 43 points, 1.79 points per game. Good enough for a share of second place in the East. Technically, they're ahead on tiebreakers over New England and Orlando, who also have 43 points. But it's really tight in the East because after that, Columbus has 42, Atlanta has 41, and Nashville has 38. And then Cincinnati is well ahead, 11 points ahead, like you mentioned earlier, at 54 points. And just as a comparison, in the West, St. Louis is leading the West right now with 44 points. Man. And LAFC is in second at 40, and then Seattle and Salt Lake are at 37.
Wow.
So, it's definitely tightening up. There's still 10 games to go. The Union do have a game in hand against Cincinnati, and they do have a game left against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So there is an opportunity to put some pressure on Cincinnati, but Cincinnati is still not lost at home. They've had 13 games at home, and they have a 12 win and one tie record.
Jeez Louise, that is just, well, I mean, I like to think the Union can take some point of pride in Cincinnati, since they're kind of like, Union West over there in Cincinnati. But they are just running away with the Eastern Conference. The question is, the playoffs is, it's a reason why it's called the second season. It's kind of the board resets when the playoffs start. So it'll be interesting to see how well they can keep that momentum going. St. Louis too. They are.
This is St. Louis's inaugural season.
It is,
right?
This is their debut season, and they
14 wins, 9 losses, and 2 draws in 25 games.
Yeah,
that's really impressive.
I'm going to bring up a related topic to this, and maybe I'll even cut this out depending on where this goes. But I'm still suffering some anxiety over that Miami game, and just the fact that Miami is just, have they even lost? I feel like they've won every single game they've played now that Messi's been on this team. And I was taking some, enjoying some Schadenfreude. Also, welcome to our German listeners. That Miami was sitting in last place in the East. Well, they're not in last place anymore. They've now moved up to second to last. But, looking at, we have about 10 games to go. And heck, if they win half those games, that's going to put them.
No, they've actually done the math. Sasha Kleshtin actually did the math, and they would have to win somewhere between 8 and 10 games, depending on the teams ahead of them, out of those 12 games or whatever that they had coming out of Leagues Cup.
Yeah,
so it's a big uphill climb.
Yeah, and I will probably be eating my words. Now that I'm saying this out loud, but it's just kind of like,
don't say it. Just don't say it.
At some point, this Miami bubble's gotta pop, and I was hoping the Union were going to do that in that semifinal game. That first loss is coming, and we'll see. It just feels like the Miami thing, and then we'll move on. But it feels like it's the whole. Monty Python had that sketch. I forget what it was. But it was about the building that stayed up only because everybody who lived in the building believed that it would never fall down. And then one day, one person was like, well, what if the building starts to fall down? And they showed footage of the building, which was demolished, and they start playing it slowly in forward motion and start seeing it start to tilt over. And immediately, one of the tenants no, you have to believe the building won't fall down. And the guy's like, oh, okay. And then he starts believing, and you see, reverse the film, and it goes right back up. That's what I feel like Miami is. It's like, as long as everybody in the league believes Miami's unstoppable, which I know people don't, but it just kind of feels like it. And also just the constant flamingo pink on everything MLS, on the Apple TV thing. It's just like, this isn't Messi's league. This is our league. It was our league before he got here, So I'm looking forward, Schadenfreude-wise, to that first Miami loss. I'm bitter. I want us to win Leagues Cup.
It's okay. And no shade on pink.
No.
We have no problem with pink or pink uniforms. It's just the prevalence.
Yeah.
Pure prevalence.
Yeah, pink is like red, but not quite.
Yeah, whatever color Miami had picked, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with.
And pink is a very fine musical performer from Philadelphia.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Delco, I think.
Right.
I better qualify that, since
the winner of the Giro d'Italia is the pink jersey, right? So we're.
Is that true? I didn't.
Yeah, it's the pink.
Oh.
It's rose, but it's
whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I don't know.
You all right?
Yeah. I'm still processing it. So
you got that poison out of the system?
Yeah, it's more like scratching the mosquito bite. It feels good right now, but it's going to feel worse later.
Just want to clarify, not Delco. She was born in Doylestown.
Oh yeah, Pink. Yeah, she's born in Boston.
I don't know why I thought you were Silco. So
did she go one of the CBs? I can't remember what high school she went to.
Why do you make me?
Anyway, we'll have to get her on the podcast. We'll have to.
I wouldn't mind that actually.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our other topics here. Do we want to just stick with union topics for the time being? Okay.
CB West.
She went to CB West. Okay.
As few digressions as possible.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
And you can tell it's getting late because they're coming fast and furious this evening.
Yeah, well.
But yes, union news, other union topics.
Other union topics here. So with the DC game, Andre Blake breaks the union's appearance record.
Which I thought he had for a while anyway. Yeah. So I guess he just keeps pushing up the number at this point.
Was that Ray who had it before him?
Before him, yeah. But I thought he matched Ray months back. And I think it's just he just keeps going. Blake just keeps going.
See, I thought Blake passed Ray a while ago because Ray hasn't been on the team for what 2-3 years. I don't know.
Yeah, but he predated him.
Yeah, I guess. So Blake sets the new appearance record, and he's only gonna blow past it. Definitely with this season, and hopefully, actually I don't know when his contract's up, but it is never up. He's never allowed to leave. He and Sébastien Letou are going to be housemates and live in Philadelphia. There's going to be a sitcom about it, and they'll be friends forever.
Who's going to be the Felix and who's going to be the Oscar? I kind of feel like if either of them, I think they both feel like Felix is to me rather than
I think so. I think Martinez would be the Oscar.
Oh, I could see that.
Well, this is writing itself. Okay.
I was going to say, can we mix sitcoms and he can be the Kramer? Because I like that.
Martinez is the Kramer. Just come barging in the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Practicing his forget about it. Or what was it? Was it forget about it? Yeah.
Forget about it when one of the reels.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to Andre. That's all. That's amazing.
I guess in other milestones, Jack Elliott set a personal record as it was his birthday.
Most times around the sun.
For Jack Elliott. Back on August 25th. So happy birthday, Jack Elliott.
Happy birthday.
Glesnes was named to the team of the match day.
Bench.
The bench. Oh. So how's that work? He's actually named to the bench of the team of the match day.
Yeah.
The words they choose,
bench, I don't get, but they do.
Yeah.
It's honorable mentions.
Yeah. But I guess he's in rarefied air as well because Messi was on the bench, I guess, for that team of the match day as well. So
yes, he was.
Great for Messi. Anyway. All righty. So
let's get to the bigger news.
Do we want to talk about the red?
I know we've all very clearly made it very clear that we're big fans of the women's international soccer and to other extents to some of the NWSL teams and others that are playing. And after the Women's World Cup this summer, I believe, Chris, you brought it up in one of our podcasts that we kind of all knew about, and it was with Spain winning the World Cup and all of the terrible things that happened afterwards with some of the leaders of that football association and just the ongoing saga that just shouldn't be happening. It's crazy.
Yeah, so basically, despite what it might sound like sometimes, we keep notes for this show. And I, during the week, was trying to document what was happening, the fallout from this unwanted kiss at the medal ceremony for Women's World Cup. And I couldn't keep up, to be honest. I have screenshots from the BBC on my phone. I have all kinds of things going on here, trying to keep track of what's happening because it's all happening so quickly. It would be sort of a, kind of enjoyable popcorn fest if it wasn't so disgusting and sad and wrong.
You almost want to hear Yakety Sax playing as you're going through the timeline, except like you said, it's so tragic.
Yeah. So
especially
it's
as certain members of the certain people in the persona dramatis keep changing, or some of them are changing their approaches as it's going on and developing.
Yeah. So Luis Rubiales, who is the president of the Spanish Football Federation, also known as RFEF, was going to resign and then refused to resign, and has been called on to resign. There are teams in La Liga coming out, and by that, men's La Liga coming out wearing warm-up shirts that say, I'm going to butcher this, but se acabo, or se acabo. My Spanish is not good, but basically it means it's over, which I think is sort of a Spanish answer to Me Too, that kind of thing. Players in the women's team scoring and holding up Jenny Hermoso's jersey and blowing her a kiss because she happened to be at the game. So basically, this is all in response, just to recap, Luis Rubiales kissing Jenny Hermoso at the ceremony at the end of the World Cup, without her, just kind of grabbing her face and kissing her, and not cool, not good, and a couple other things he did as well, but that's the one that's getting the most airtime.
It's the most prominent and most obvious and forward. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's blatant. I can't imagine he wasn't thinking, and it's just crazy that this is still going on, that somebody could have acted that way and not immediately had the world crash down on top of them. It's stunning. And then there was rumors at one point, or maybe actually happened, that the Spanish FA was going to actually seek action against some of the players that were standing up for what happened. And it just seems like every way it could have been mishandled, it was mishandled.
Yeah. And in the RFEF even went so far as to petition UEFA to get themselves to ask to be sort of penalized, or at least temporarily removed from UEFA, I think in a bid to not be subject to their rules. So I don't know what is so special about this guy, but UEFA said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. I had heard reports that some of the managers in RFEF were now, or I'm sorry, we're also calling for his resignation. But I don't think the leaders of the association have called for that yet. Right
now, is there any?
All the managers have also quit, except for the primary manager of the women's team. They've all resigned.
Right. So he's the only one left on the staff.
Yeah, he's another one, but he not as blatantly. But there was a whole controversy with him before the World Cup, which we don't have time to get into, since we're not supposed to be digressing this far as it is. But yeah,
it's a big piece of news,
it is.
And it's worth talking about. And I guess it's not settled at this point, and it won't be for quite a while. And people will try to protect each other, and it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, I mean, where it stands at the time of us talking, he has a 90-day suspension from FIFA, from the RFEF, handed down by FIFA, while they investigate. It sounds like they're trying to do that as quickly as possible. I mean, FIFA, not always known for being the most, upright and above board themselves, but anyway, so that's where it sits right now. That, and his mother has barred herself in a church because she is so upset that her son is being called into question. But anyway,
feel bad for her, but still. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it's just crazy. It's
It took this to, I think, show what, I mean, because apparently they had a lot of trouble with being taken seriously before, their complaints being heard before the World Cup. It took this for it all to come to a head. I mean, even as the World Cup was ending, Infantino was saying that women still have to prove to men that they are actually, to the men of FIFA and the soccer world, that they deserve to be treated equally. As the Women's World Cup is ending, as this is, I mean, this is before the kiss, but it's a circus and it's going to go on for a long time, whether it's Spain or other countries. But hopefully, this will succeed in, knocking something down for the women, because Lord knows they deserve it.
So. Yeah, and it's casting a shadow over the amazing feat that they just performed. That the whole team's coming together the way they did. A number of their starters weren't brought into the tournament, and they still went ahead and won it. And it's tough to live down all of this stuff, and it's going to be under a cloud now because some jerk like this, acted in the ways that he did, and treated these women the way that he did. It's terrible.
Really is.
Yeah.
So
frustrating, difficult, makes you angry, makes you sad, makes you frustrated. It's there's no easy fix. There's no definite, I mean, whether you lance the boil and get rid of all of the people that are currently in leadership and replace them, who knows if that makes things better.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's ultimately where it's going to end up going, but it would be a guess at this point. I don't know. And I don't know how long it's going to take us to get there.
Oh, well, hashtag it's over, since I can't say the Spanish properly. But we stand with Jenny Hermoso.
Well, hopefully things will continue to improve for them, and not too much longer before they can get back to enjoying the game that we all love, and get back out on the field and playing for a coach that they actually want to play for, and be respected by the country and appreciated for all they do, all the players do.
Yeah.
So good luck to the players. Hopefully the FA gets their head out of their ass and finds a way through this. So, but can we get back to the Union for a bit? I know we're going to digress quite a ways. We do have 2 upcoming games for the Union before the international break, I believe.
We got another one
coming up. Yeah, because I think they have a game tomorrow, and then they have a game on Sunday, and then I believe they're off until the 16th, which I believe is because of an international window of friendlies. So, tomorrow they're traveling to Toronto to take on Toronto, and probably one of the last of the nice weather games up in Toronto. So maybe they'll actually play in Toronto FC Stadium instead of Stade Saputo. I actually haven't checked on that. But like you mentioned earlier, Miami has it now improved to 14th in the East, and the team in 15th is Toronto.
Yeah. Hopefully this game goes better against the last place team than the last game we played against the last place team.
Well, they weren't the last place team in Leagues Cup when we played Miami.
Were they? I guess
they were not. They were. I mean, they were.
Did Toronto just sign anybody I should know about?
Yeah.
Did Gareth Bale come out of retirement to play against us?
Yeah. Toronto signs Ronaldo. It's like, son of a.
Besides, they wouldn't sign Ronaldo. They'd sign. I'm trying to think of the Italian version of that, because apparently Toronto likes to hire a lot of Italian players.
Oh yeah, right there. What was his name?
Giovinco and
Sebastian Giovinco.
I'm not up on my Italian soccer players, so I couldn't tell you who would be that would sign for them. But as far as I'm aware, there haven't been any last minute, big name signings in Toronto. But yeah, I mean, as far as games go, I'm traveling Wednesday up to Toronto, and then having an extra day off before they have to take on the New Jersey Pink Cows. I think these are both winnable games for the
Union. I think so.
In total. Toronto 15th. They're just kind of the doormat in the East. New York Red Bulls are in 11th. So pretty much in the same boat. And, the Union beat New York in Leagues Cup last time they faced them. And I believe they beat them before then. So it should be a fun series of games. Hopefully that there'll be some rotation of the squad. Hopefully Martinez will be back for at least one of those games, if not both of them. And I'm hoping for good things.
Yeah, I guess that's right. We didn't talk about Martinez getting subbed out because he still has that injury, right? It's
Curtin's press conference afterwards sounded like he expected it to be rather minor, but he didn't have any details of what it was. So hopefully, Curtin was saying he hopes to get him back at least in time for the Red Bull game.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what that Red Bull game, right? Because the last time we played them, there was the whole little brother sentiment going back and forth, and just we didn't appreciate the talking they were doing off the field compared to what they were doing on the field. So it'll be interesting to see how Red Bulls internalize that and what they bring back to Subaru Park, and hopefully it's under the skin, and which reveals those buttons we can start pushing again. It's I expect and hope it'll be a dramatic or entertaining game.
Yes.
I'm hopeful with the Toronto game too, because I guess they're going through a little bit of not reshuffling, but I think they got did they get a new manager in, or so they're in a state of flux right now. So hopefully that means we have a relatively easy go up there in Toronto this tomorrow night. So it's kind of like, I kind of like how we're not worried about predicting scores. It's kind of like, what do we want to hopefully see?
I want to see the triangle death continue to develop, continue to drive games and own games, put up a couple more goals. And I would like to see, I would like to see the continued rotation of the rest of this team. I think balancing out the minutes will be good. Other than that, I would, but what do you guys think? I'm also thinking some more Bedoya time would be nice.
I'd like to see Bedoya. So pretty much Toronto, I hope it's just kind of an open shut. We win that game. We don't, a 2-0, that's good. Let's just get the job done. Let's bring it home. And in the New York game, I hope it's a Martinez extravaganza, not necessarily just in sense of the spirit of the game. And, there's that little bit of that mischievousness, button pushing. I don't want to getting out of hand. I don't need any benches cleared, but I want a good spirited game where we come out smiling at the end. That's what I'm hoping for.
Anything from you, Christy?
I'm just hoping. I was just doing a quick research on the coaching situation. I'm hoping that their leadership mix-up has benefits us, basically, because they're with an interim coach right now. They won't have a new coach until October 1st. So certainly there's some continuity there, but hopefully that will be just one more thing to help us.
And that's Toronto, right?
That is Toronto, yeah.
Toronto just released their previous.
They released their previous coach, but their new coach was the men's national team coach.
Herdman?
Yes.
John Herdman?
Nice memory.
Yep. He quit to take over, but he will not be doing that until October 1st.
Yeah, so, he's probably got to see Canada through the next international window.
Right, exactly. And the coach that they let go was actually Bob Bradley. He was still there. I did not realize he
was still in charge.
That's what it says. Yeah.
Wow, I did
so I did not realize
Michael
he was still
is
there.
still on the team.
Yep. Awkward Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm obviously hopeful for a win with on paper we should win, but any given Wednesday, I guess. Right.
Any given game day.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And we'll be at the game on
on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're bringing some first time union.
Well, we're bringing scoops.
We're bringing scoops.
And then some first timers. So
all the more reason for a good game.
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny because Scoops was saying that it's the Red Bulls again. I always go when it's the Red Bulls.
What's your track record with the Red Bulls when she goes?
I think we usually win. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we have lost to the Red Bulls in a number of years.
We haven't lost to the Red Bulls since like 2018.
Yeah, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. That's a statistic they've started rolling out. So, but I said, Mom, that's the big one to go to, and she's like, oh, I guess.
Yeah.
So I haven't ever gone to sit in the Sons of Ben section when they go into a travel, but I did hear that one of the chants they'll use when they're winning in DC is "Our house in the middle of DC."
Ah, nice, nice. That's clever. I like that.
So playing these two games, one away in Toronto and then back in Philly for the Red Bulls game. That's just. Sons of Ben, I'm sure, are going to be in full throat for that, and ready to cheer the team on. It should definitely be a good time. I don't know. Hopefully, your friends going with you. We'll have fun.
Yeah, I should probably let them know.
Yeah,
well, what they're walking into. Especially warn them beforehand if they're sitting closer to the Red Bulls than you are, or to the Union fans, the Sons of Ben, the River End. Yeah.
And other things, do not wear red.
I did actually. It was the very first thing I told her, but I need to reiterate that. So
actually, it was interesting. The game that we went to, the leagues game that Nate and I went and sat in the River End. There was a kid who showed up wearing a Barcelona jersey or I forget what club jersey he was wearing, but it was red. It was clearly not Red Bull.
Yeah.
They made him take it off and they gave him another shirt to wear.
Oh my God.
They're like, here you go. Thanks for changing your shirt. You're not allowed to wear red in this section of the stadium. Here's a Philly Union shirt to wear instead. It was just a basic T-shirt with Union on it or something like that. I guess the Sons of Ben must keep around for those kids, those people who show up wearing red in their section. Because nope, they're not allowed to. And it's actually when you buy the tickets online, it's clearly stated you are expected to stand the entire game, and you are not allowed to wear red in this section.
Like going to a restaurant, it's like, sir, you got to wear a jacket. We will provide one for you, but
yeah, I have seen some Philly stuff occasionally in the stadium. I don't know if I've ever seen it in the Sons of Ben section, but maybe that gets a pass since it's Phil's. I'm not sure, but yeah. Regardless, I just imagine like this cheap stash of T-shirts in the backs, or like the knockoff T-shirts they used to sell in college for fundraisers that were like, I don't know, knockoff Calvin and Hobbes or something like that.
Or the guys walking around outside with the pretzels, water, and T-shirts after the games.
Yeah, that's when I knew we had made it, when they had knockoff Union
knockoff stuff.
Yeah, I was like, real team now.
Real team.
Yep.
All right. I don't know. Anything else for the good of the order?
Nope.
All right. Well, if you want to get a hold of us, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us at our website, amorephillyunion.com. Drop us an email. Again, hey, if we got some mistakes in this episode, feel free to let us know. We learn when people point it out.
Or if there's topics that we missed, please feel free to let us know, and we'll be glad to give you the credit.
Yeah, and it's great kind of having nice little conversations with people out there. It's what makes this a lot of fun. So yeah, drop us an email at pod@amorephillyunion.com. You could find us on the social media site previously known as Twitter, i.e. X, at amorephillyu. Instagram, YouTube, Threads, we are a More Philly Union. And you can get us wherever you get your podcasts, Google, Apple, you know where you get them. So yeah, subscribe, like, comment. Help get the word out. We want to hit that 1,000 download before the end of the season. Hey, maybe we need to kind of formalize what our donation is going to be for next I don't know, to sweeten the deal a little bit. Let people know.
Let's do that.
I think we did something back in the beginning of the season, but I've forgotten how much we said. So I don't want to I think we said it was I don't know. I don't want to even say it, just in case I'm wrong. So yes. So spread the word. Help us get that 1,000 downloads. Really, we get nothing out of this. It's just an arbitrary goal we picked just to kind of have fun and, and do some good. So let's do some good. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for tuning into another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
Go Union.
Yep, Satan is my master. Yep.
I'm going to want to use that one now. But,